stop everything, what if that dusty old Australian penny sitting in your junk drawer is actually hiding a massive fortune? One ordinary-looking copper coin from 1940 to 1964 just sold for thousands, while a flawless gem-red survivor shattered records well into the tens of thousands at auction. Today we expose the shocking errors, secret varieties, and insane high-grade values of the 1940, 1948, 1962, and 1964 pennies that could turn your pocket change into life-changing money. Let's get started with the 1940 Australian copper penny captures a pivotal moment in wartime coinage. Struck during the early years of World War II when copper resources were stretched and minting demands ran high across Melbourne and Perth facilities. Featuring the stern portrait of King George VI on the obverse and the iconic leaping kangaroo on the reverse, these bronze pieces carry the weight of history from an era of uncertainty and national resilience. Most examples you encounter in collections or junk boxes come from the Melbourne Mint, with a mintage around 4 million, appearing quite common at first glance, yet closer inspection often reveals subtle distinctions that excite serious numismatists. Perth minted versions stand out with the distinctive KG marking placed between the letters on the obverse, a scarcer issue with roughly 1.1 million produced that commands extra attention from variety hunters. In everyday circulated grades like good to very fine, these pennies trade for modest sums that barely cover a coffee. But their true allure emerges in higher states of preservation, where original mint luster and copper red tones survive the decades. Planche flaws plague many from this period due to wartime production pressures, showing up as streaks, pits, or laminations on both sides that error enthusiasts actively seek out rather than dismiss. Serious errors add dramatic premiums, broad strikes where the coin expands beyond the collar, partial or full brockages displaying a mirrored indent from a stuck coin, clipped planches missing curved segments from improper blank cutting, and off-center strikes ranging from slight misalignment to wild 30–50% shifts that leave parts of the design floating in blank metal. Die cracks snaking across the kangaroo or through the lettering appear frequently enough to form minor varieties, while the KG pieces occasionally show enhanced planche issues that boost their appeal in specialist markets. Proof strikes from Perth are extraordinarily rare, with only a handful believed to exist as coins of record, representing the pinnacle for advanced collectors willing to pursue museum-quality pieces. High-grade uncirculated examples with strong eye appeal and retained red color represent the sweet spot for most hobbyists, where certification from PCGs or NGC can multiply interest and realized prices at auction. These coins rarely flood the market in gem condition, making every clean, lustrous survivor a small victory against time and circulation wear. Whether you are drawn to the historical context, the error potential, or the chase for pristine surfaces, the 1940 penny rewards patient examination and careful handling far beyond its humble 1 penny face value. Recent auction and dealer records show circulated examples typically realizing between a few dollars and 20 in lower grades, while choice uncirculated pieces range from 200 to over 500 Australian dollars depending on luster and eye appeal, with the scarcer Perth KG variety pushing MS63 to MS65 red or red-brown specimens toward $1,000 to $2,500 or more in strong sales. Dramatic errors like substantial brockages or large off-centers in extremely fine to uncirculated condition have exceeded several hundred to low thousands when certified and well presented. Now imagine the thrill when that next 1948 penny lands in your hand. Its higher mintage hiding even wilder error surprises and gem-red potential that can explode past anything the 1940 ever dreamed of. Next up, the 1948 Australian copper penny emerges from a post-war boom year when mints across the country worked overtime to meet everyday demands in a recovering economy, producing vast numbers that make it seem ordinary at first, yet hide layers of intrigue for those who look closer. King George VI's portrait gazes steadily from the obverse while the bounding kangaroo leaps across the reverse, a design frozen in bronze that whispers tales of a nation rebuilding after global conflict. The Melbourne Mint dominated output with over 26 million pieces struck without any special mark, flooding circulation and leaving countless examples for modern collectors to discover in old tins or inherited albums. In contrast, The Perth Mint contributed a far smaller run of roughly 1.5 million, distinguished by a clear P mint mark or a single dot placed after the word penny, instantly marking these as the scarcer prize that savvy hunters prize for their relative rarity. What truly sets many 1948 pennies apart from their siblings in the series are the distinctive obverse varieties involving the alignment of the letter A in Georgiev's relative to the rim denticles, the small tooth-like notches encircling the design. Some show the A pointing directly to a large denticle, while others align with a noticeably smaller one, creating subtle but documented differences that variety specialists track with calipers and magnified scrutiny. These denticle variations, particularly the A points to small denticle alignment on certain strikes, elevate otherwise common dates into sought-after collectibles that fetch premiums even in mid-grades. Production inconsistencies from the era also introduced a parade of striking errors. Lamination flaws where thin layers of the bronze planche peel or flake away like delicate skin. Partial collar or ram strike errors that leave the coin with a raised lip on one side, broad strikes expanding the diameter beyond normal limits, and curved or straight-clipped planches where the blank was improperly cut before striking. Error enthusiasts celebrate dramatic pieces such as full obverse brockages where the reverse shows a sunken mirror image of the king's portrait, or off-center strikes that shift the entire design dramatically, sometimes by 20% or more, leaving blank fields of untouched metal. Underweight planches occasionally slipped through, resulting in thinner, lighter coins that still display full details but weigh noticeably less than the standard 9.45 grams. Die cracks and cuds, raised blobs from broken die sections, frequently appear across the kangaroo's body or through inscriptions, adding character and value for those building specialized error sets. At the absolute pinnacle sit the ultra-rare proof strikes produced as coins of record at the Perth Mint, with perhaps only 16 believed made and most locked away in institutions. Their mirror-like fields and deep copper brilliance representing a level of perfection few collectors ever touch. Circulated survivors from pocket change days carry modest appeal, yet the real excitement builds as preservation improves. Coins retaining traces of original mint red or attractive chocolate brown surfaces in extremely fine condition already stand out, while true uncirculated examples with strong luster become increasingly difficult to source as the decades take their toll. Certification by services like PCGs or NGC not only authenticates varieties and errors, but also unlocks higher bidder interest at auction, where eye appeal and originality drive prices far beyond catalog estimates. Whether you stumble upon a plain Melbourne issue or uncover a Perth P with a prized denticle alignment and dramatic misstrike, the 1948 penny rewards patient searching and careful study with connections to Australia's mid-century story that no digital image can fully replicate. Recent auction records and dealer listings place typical circulated 1948 pennies in the range of 50 cents to $5 in lower grades, with uncirculated Melbourne examples generally selling between $20 and $200 depending on luster and color, scarcer Perth. Mint-marked pieces in choice MS62 to MS65 brown or red brown regularly achieve $500 to $2,500 or higher when certified with strong eye appeal, while the legendary proof 1948 Perth has realized around $40,000 in flawless FDC quality. Notable errors such as significant brockages, large off-centers in extremely fine or better, or certified lamination flaws in high grades frequently command several hundred to low thousands when they reach the market. Now picture the quiet intensity of the 1949 Australian copper penny waiting in your collection tray, its massive mintage masking surprising planchet drama, and high-grade red potential that can surge values even further than the surprises hidden inside 1948. Next up, the 1949 Australian copper penny slipped quietly into circulation during a time when Australia was steadily advancing into the second half of the 20th century, its bronze surfaces carrying the familiar profile of King George VI alongside the energetic kangaroo that had become a beloved national emblem on the reverse. Struck exclusively at the Melbourne Mint, with a substantial output exceeding 27 million pieces and bearing no mint mark, this date feels abundant on the surface. Yet its sheer volume masks a surprising depth of character for collectors who take the time to examine each coin under good light and magnification. Production realities of the late 1940s meant that planche quality could vary noticeably, resulting in coins that display everything from subtle surface laminations where the metal layers separate slightly to more pronounced defects that error specialists eagerly pursue. Ram strike errors, where the collar fails to contain the blank properly and creates a distinctive raised lip or distorted edge, appear with pleasing frequency on this date and add instant visual drama without requiring extreme rarity. Clipped planches curve gracefully away from the rim where the blank was sheared imperfectly before striking, while broad-struck examples expand outward beyond their normal 31mm diameter, stretching the lettering and design elements in fascinating ways. Off-center strikes shift the entire motif dramatically, sometimes leaving large blank crescents of untouched bronze that highlight the forceful impact of the dies, and defective planches with pits, streaks, or thin spots bring an organic, almost geological texture that appeals strongly to those assembling error collections from the pre-decimal era. Die-related anomalies also surface regularly, including fine cracks that snake across the kangaroo's body or through the inscriptions, and occasional cuds where a small portion of the die has broken away to leave a raised blob on the finished coin. Though no major name double die or repunched varieties dominate the catalogs for this specific year, the combination of striking irregularities with the date's overall availability makes it an accessible entry point for building an impressive error set. At the highest level of rarity sit the proof strikes prepared as coins of record at Melbourne, their mirror fields and sharp details representing a level of perfection reserved for institutional collections and the most determined private buyers. In lower circulated grades, these pennies blend easily into pocket change from decades past, often showing even wear that leaves the design clear, but without special distinction. As condition climbs into extremely fine and beyond, however, surviving original surfaces begin to reveal themselves. Warm chocolate brown tones giving way to hints of underlying red luster that become increasingly scarce with each passing year. True uncirculated survivors with attractive eye appeal and minimal bag marks stand out sharply against the sea of worn examples, while certified pieces in MS63 or higher, especially those retaining substantial red or red-brown color, draw competitive bidding whenever they appear at auction. The combination of historical context, everyday accessibility, and hidden striking variations creates a coin that rewards both casual accumulators and dedicated variety hunters alike, turning what might seem like a common post-war penny into a tangible link to Australia's numismatic heritage. Recent auction and dealer transactions show typical circulated 1949 pennies realizing between 1 and 10 Australian dollars in lower grades, with uncirculated examples generally trading from $20 to $150 depending on luster and surface quality, certified MS64 red-brown. Or better pieces often reach $200 to $500 or more when eye appeal is strong. While dramatic errors such as ram strikes, broad strikes, or substantial off-centers in extremely fine to uncirculated condition have achieved prices from several hundred up to low thousands when well documented and graded. Proof examples, though exceptionally elusive, sit in a completely different realm with values reflecting their status as coins of record. Now feel the anticipation build as that 1962 Australian copper penny slides into view. Its later date and different royal portrait concealing fresh error possibilities and gem red survivors capable of delivering even greater surprises than the quiet drama locked inside 1949. Next up, the 1962 Australian copper penny arrives at the threshold of a new royal era. The first full year featuring the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick on the obverse, paired with the ever-familiar leaping kangaroo on the reverse that had defined the denomination for decades. By this point in Australia's pre-decimal coinage, the Perth Mint shouldered the bulk of production with a hefty mintage exceeding 34 million pieces, each marked by a distinctive dot or Y, placed after the word penny to signify its Western Australian origin, while the Melbourne Mint contributed a smaller share without any distinguishing mark. This shift in monarch and continued high output might suggest uniformity. Yet the coins carry an unexpected vibrancy that draws collectors deeper into their study, revealing both subtle die characteristics and striking anomalies born from the mechanical demands of large-scale minting. One of the most talked-about features on the Perth strikes is the celebrated double nose variety, a form of hub doubling visible on the Queen's nose, the ribbons in her wreath, and portions of the surrounding legend, creating a doubled outline that stands out sharply under magnification and turns an otherwise standard coin into a named collectible prized by variety enthusiasts. Other die markers and minor repunchings occasionally surface in the lettering or date, though none overshadow the double nose attraction. On the error front, the 1962 penny offers a rich selection for those who enjoy the unpredictable side of minting: straight or curved clipped planchets where the metal blank was sheared imperfectly before being fed into the press, resulting in missing segments that range from tiny bites to more substantial cuts affecting up to 10 or 15% of the circumference. Off-center strikes shift the entire design, sometimes by several millimeters, leaving blank crescents of untouched bronze that highlight the force of the dies, while broad strikes expand the coin beyond its normal diameter when the retaining collar malfunctions. Rotated dies produce misalignment between obverse and reverse, typically measured in degrees, adding another layer of interest without extreme rarity. Lamination flaws and planchet streaks appear from time to time, as do occasional die cracks or small cuts that interrupt the smooth flow of the kangaroo's form or the inscriptions. Proof versions, struck in very limited numbers around 1,000 pieces at the Perth Mint for presentation and collector sets, display deep mirror fields and frosted devices that contrast beautifully with the circulation strikes, representing the ultimate expression of craftsmanship from that year. These proofs remain elusive outside institutional holdings or advanced collections, their scarcity amplified by the passage of more than 60 years. In pocket-worn condition, these pennies blend seamlessly into accumulations of pre-decimal bronze, showing the evenware typical of coins that once bought everyday items in shops across the continent. Yet as preservation improves, their potential shines through. Extremely fine examples begin to display cleaner details and warmer tones, while uncirculated survivors reveal traces of original copper red luster fighting against natural toning into attractive brown hues. The highest grades reward those who hunt diligently, with gems retaining substantial red color becoming increasingly difficult to locate as time and handling take their toll. Certification by PCGs or NGC plays a crucial role here, not only confirming authenticity and variety status, but also highlighting eye appeal that drives competitive bidding whenever fresh material reaches the market. The 1962 penny thus bridges the final chapter of Australia's bronze penny story, offering accessibility for beginners while still delivering surprises for specialists who appreciate its blend of historical transition, die variety potential, and classic error types. Recent auction records and specialist dealer sales indicate that circulated 1962 pennies generally fetch between $1 and $15 Australian dollars in lower to mid grades, with uncirculated examples typically realizing $20 to $150 depending on overall quality and surface appeal. The scarcer double nose variety or Perth marked pieces in choice MS63 to MS65 brown or red brown often climb to several $100s when certified with strong eye appeal. Dramatic errors such as 10% off-center strikes in extremely fine grade, clipped planchets, or rotated dies in uncirculated condition commonly achieve $200 to over $1,000 when well presented, while truly exceptional high-grade gems, particularly those with vibrant original red luster, have shattered expectations in recent years, with one standout specimen realizing over $100,000 at auction due to its extraordinary preservation and visual impact that redefined what a relatively common late-date penny could command in the right hands. Proof examples in high grade sit in an entirely different category, frequently trading in the low thousands when they appear. Now since the final chapter unfolding with the 1964 Australian copper penny, its record-breaking mintage and Perth dominance promising abundant opportunities for fresh planchet errors and astonishing gem-red brilliance that can eclipse even the dramatic highs unlocked by 1962. Next up, the 1964 Australian copper penny stands as the grand finale of an iconic series, the very last bronze penny struck before Australia transitioned to decimal currency in 1966, marking the end of an era rich with royal portraits and leaping kangaroos that had defined everyday commerce for generations. Queen Elizabeth II appears in her elegant Gillick portrait on the obverse, youthful and composed, while the reverse captures the kangaroo in full stride, a symbol of the continent's wild spirit frozen forever in coppery bronze. This date achieved extraordinary production levels, with the Perth Mint alone contributing over 54 million pieces identified by a small dot or Y. After the word penny, and the Melbourne Mint adding tens of millions more without any distinguishing mark, making it the most abundant pre-decimal penny ever released into circulation. Despite the massive numbers, individual coins frequently reveal the fingerprints of hurried high-volume minting in the final years of the old system. Planche flaws remain a hallmark, ranging from subtle laminations and peeling metal layers to large, irregular voids or streaks that cross the Queen's portrait or disrupt the kangaroo's powerful legs, turning potential defects into prized conversation pieces for error collectors. Clipped planches appear in straight, curved, or even multiple forms where the blank was improperly sheared, creating neat bites or irregular notches along the rim that range from minor distractions to dramatic alterations covering 10 or 15% of the edge. Broad strikes occur when the collar fails to contain the metal, causing the coin to spread outward with distorted lettering and expanded diameter, while off-center strikes shift the entire design off-kilter, sometimes leaving wide blank crescents of untouched bronze that emphasize the raw power of the coining press. Die cracks and small cuds frequently interrupt the smooth fields or cut across inscriptions and design elements, and rotated die alignments add another dimension of misalignment measured in noticeable degrees. Though no single overwhelming double die variety dominates the catalogs like on some earlier dates, specialists still hunt minor repunchings in the date or legend, along with subtle differences between Melbourne and Perth strikes that become apparent only under close examination. At the extreme end of rarity lies the solitary known proof strike from Perth, a coin of record with mirror-like fields and razor-sharp details that represents the absolute pinnacle of craftsmanship for this final year, treasured in institutional collections and almost never available to private hands. Worn examples from decades of pocket change show the familiar even abrasion that leaves the designs recognizable but ordinary, blending into countless similar pieces saved from the 1960s. Yet as condition ascends, the 1964 penny begins to disclose its hidden beauty. Extremely fine specimens retain sharper outlines and warmer underlying tones, while uncirculated pieces display varying degrees of original copper red luster battling against natural chocolate brown toning. The finest survivors, especially those from Perth with vibrant, undisturbed surfaces and minimal contact marks, become increasingly elusive treasures, their eye appeal amplified dramatically when certified by PCGs or NGC. In this closing chapter of the pre-decimal penny story, the 1964 issue offers unparalleled accessibility for newcomers to build representative sets while simultaneously delivering exceptional rewards for advanced collectors chasing pristine preservation or eye-catching striking errors from the very end of an era. Recent auction records and specialist dealer transactions place typical circulated 1964 pennies in the range of 50 cents to 10 Australian dollars in lower to mid grades, with uncirculated examples generally selling between $5 and $100 depending on surface quality and color. Retention. Perth Y. Dot varieties in choice MS63 to MS65 brown or red brown often reach $300 to $2,600 or higher when certified with outstanding eye appeal and strong original luster, while dramatic errors including significant clipped planches, broad strikes, or planche flaws in extremely fine to uncirculated condition commonly command $200 to well over $1,000 when attractively presented and graded. Exceptional gem red or red-brown high-grade survivors, particularly standout Perth pieces with near-flawless preservation, have achieved prices that far exceed standard expectations in competitive sales. As this final 1964 Australian copper penny settles into your collection, its record mintage and rich era potential close the book on a legendary pre-decimal series while opening endless possibilities for further discovery among Australia's fascinating numismatic heritage. And that wraps up our journey through these 5 fascinating Australian copper pennies from 1940 to 1964, each one packed with history, hidden varieties, striking errors, and surprising high-grade value potential that can turn an ordinary-looking coin into a serious prize. If you enjoyed exploring their stories, errors, and auction values, hit that like button, drop a comment with which date surprised you the most, or share your own finds, and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth numismatic adventures, error coin spotlights, and pre-decimal Australian treasures. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video where we dive even deeper into Australia's hidden coin gems. Keep hunting.